Well, the story of Moana is about a young girl. She's 16 years old. She's the daughter of a chief. She lives on an island where no one has voyaged for 1,000 years.
In the Pacific.
In the Pacific. The story takes place 2,000 years ago. And she is drawn to the ocean. She is drawn to the sea, even though her father has a rule that no one can ever cross the reef. But through circumstances, she is set on a quest to save her people, to save her island, and she is forced to team up with a somewhat flawed demigod named Maui, and saves the world.
One of the key themes is identity. It's really finding out who you are. In Moana's case, she has a feeling she should be a navigator like her ancient ancestors, but many things in society are saying that's not what you should do. We don't go past the islands. We don't do that anymore. Stay here. And so she has this conflict. So the theme is really about listening to your own inner voice and responding to that no matter what the obstacle. And we think it's a great lesson for both young women and young men today.
Moana is a true hero, and she's on a true hero's journey, a quest to save her people. She faces numerous obstacles. If she cannot overcome those obstacles, her world will be destroyed. But she has what it takes, and she ultimately comes through and discovers who she's meant to be.
Well, we heard the expression when we were in the islands, you got to know your mountain, and your mountain is your ancestry, everything that preceded you. If you don't know that, you don't know who you are. And we really wanted a voice in the story that would connect to Moana's past, the past of these ancestors. And this grandmother character evolved as the story developed. She wasn't in the first draft of the movie, but she became her closest confidant. We saw that in the islands, where sometimes kids would have closer relationships with their grandparents than they did with their immediate parents. And it was a very unique and special bond. And we wanted to celebrate that in the movie. And Rachel House, who does the voice of the grandmother, brought such warmth and conviction and passion and empathy. It really helped elevate the whole emotion of the movie. And she really is, the relationship between the two of them is really the emotional core of the movie, and as it plays out through the course of the story.
I mean, Maui is from the myths of Polynesia. He is a pan-Pacific demigod. His stories are told throughout the Pacific Islands. Many different versions of the stories, although they have some things in common. He's a superhero. He's super strong. He can shapeshift. He has a magical fishhook that's kind of like Thor's hammers, with which he can pull up islands. And in our story, he has done something that, and he's actually hasn't turned out kind of the way he hoped. And he was trying to help mankind, but things went horribly wrong. And now, through disrespecting nature, the world is in big trouble.
And he's lost his fishhook, and so he doesn't have his full complement of powers. So he's kind of a diminished demigod.
But he's trying to sort of fix what he has broken.
And through the process, Moana is not only reinvigorating the culture, but she's reinvigorating Maui and getting him to be the hero that he could be. She's sort of charging him up as well as the whole Pacific.
It's
kind of a road movie.
Kind of fractured relationship. They don't get along too well in the beginning. Maui is a demigod. He doesn't think a lot of humans.
And he's a bit of an egomaniac and a braggart and kind of vain and all that.
At the same time, Moana, Maui likes to think of Moana that she should somehow be a fan and kind of worship him, but she's not. But they do actually learn a lot from each other, and they both grow, I think, in the course of their relationship.
Tamatoa is a villain in the movie, kind of a sub-villain. He's a giant crab, and he's very self-possessed, and he's sort of anti-theme of the movie. The theme of the movie has a lot about what you are inside, but Tamatoa is all about surface appearance. He says what only matters is what you look like, and he sings a song called Shiny that celebrates sort of his exterior appearance, and he's voiced by Clements, a wonderful actor from Flight of the Conchords, and Lynn wrote this great song after having binge-watched Flight of the Conchords and said, I'm going to tailor a song for this kind of David Bowie-esque song called Shiny, and he's very fun. Jermaine ad-libbed some of the funniest lines in there, and great to work with. The first writer on the project was Taika Waititi. He's a great writer-director. He's done these amazing things. Flight of the Conchords, directed several of those. He wrote the first treatments, the first draft of the script.
And he went on to direct What We Do in the Shadows, and the next writer
And The Hunt for the Wilder People, actually. And now he's directing Thor.
Yes.
And then Pam Ribbon came on board. Pam did a wonderful job. She introduced the idea of the grandmother character.
We had the Kendall brothers, who are both,
Aaron and Jordan,
who are both from Hawaii, And I think
They had sailed with Noah Thompson, the great Hawaiian navigator. They brought their knowledge of navigation, and they introduced us to the kakamora. They sort of developed the whole idea of these sort of little coconut-clad pirates that are kind of after the heart of nature.
But finally, Jared Bush, who was a writer, co-director on Zootopia, came onto this movie right after Zootopia. Wonderful, wonderful writer, did a great job, and
really pulled it all together. And really, much of the dialogue you hear in the movie, the funny lines you're hearing, are the result of Jared's input.